On behalf of the Chancellor, Willie Smith, and recast, and the Mayor, Sharon Winston Broome, Dr. Plummer, who will be here later on today, the Vice Chancellors, the faculty and staff of Baton Rouge Community College, we welcome you. And to all our visitors, thank you for coming. So we have today Matt Cook. Matt Cook was on Tyler Perry's show, If Loving You Is Wrong. He played Joey. And he's here today. He's a model, an entrepreneur, and co-founder of a Boom Journal app that he's going to be presenting to you in a minute. He's joined by Matt West, who's also an entrepreneur and co-founder of the Boom Journal app and a proud alum of Pepperdine University. Put your hands together for our guests, Mr. Matt Cook and Matt West. Thank you.
Hello. How are you guys doing today?
Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about mental wellness, right? A lot of times we often hear about mental health, but we want to really empower people, especially students, and allow them to understand that you can shift that. We can shift it from mental health to mental wealth. And today we're going to talk about that, and I'm excited to share it. So, like I said, my name is Matt West. This is Matt Cook. And what we'll learn today is how can we be happier, right? We all want happiness and health. And we navigate life and we're faced with many challenges, but how can we overcome those challenges that we face, especially when we're in traumatic situations or even small challenges, right? And stop exacerbating that trauma. So whatever trauma that we are experiencing, we don't identify that. That doesn't become who we are, right? And we want to be more loving, more compassionate, have more peace with what is going on in our inner world, so that way it can reflect on our outer world. So we'll start a little bit about our story and our mission. So our mission is really empower people with tools of thought, so that way they can use those tools to expand and grow humankind. And my story started when I was in high school. I was really dedicated to sports. I had a passion for soccer. And during my 11th grade year, I had a season-ending injury where it was extremely painful to the point where the doctor told me I cannot play anymore. And it was devastating. I was experiencing anxiety, worry. But I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Prince that introduced me to psychology, and it was at that moment that I discovered my passion for psychology. And I started studying, I started learning more about it, and I really got into how we can really use psychology to empower us to overcome any challenges, especially when it comes to anxiety and stress. Fast forward, I went on to Pepperdine University, obtained a master's in clinical psychology. I had a double master's, and I started to work with individuals, empowering them with tools so that way they can continue on the path that they were destined to be. And it was another pivotal moment after 10 years of being a psychologist that there was something missing. And I had a life stressor that took me back to that moment when I was in high school. And I started experiencing that anxiety, that worry, that stress again. And I was at a loss. So I focused my energy to shift and train my mind to something that I had control over, which was my physical body. So I started going to the gym, consistently going to the gym. And I started writing down my thoughts. Writing down my thoughts very descriptively allowed me to take those thoughts that I was thinking, those negative thoughts, and start to understand myself better. And I came to realize that those negative thoughts were impacting how I was in the world, showing up in the world. And I started to shift those negative thoughts to more positive thoughts. And it was that moment that I understood that there was power in our ability to write down our thoughts. And I applied it to the individuals that I was working with. And I started to think, how can I create something that not only my clients can work with, but on a global scale? How can I use something that everybody can benefit from? And that was the foundation of Boom Journal. And that's where I met Matt Cook, and he's going to share his story.
Hello. My name is Matt Cook. My story is a bit different than Matt's, and very different than a lot of people, but I also feel like it's very relatable. So I started out, I didn't think that I would ever create something that would be on like an app level. I grew up young kid, mom was raising me by herself, working 3 jobs. My father left her, and I wanted to be an NBA player. I don't know if anybody in this audience has aspirations to be an athlete or entertainer or anything of that nature, but that was my thing. So I noticed, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and kind of like how things developed and everything like that. So I noticed that like someone introduced basketball to me at a very young age, and I just poured my heart into it. I realized that like dealing with a lot of things that were going on, like Matt was saying with trauma, I was kind of sad and stuff like that because my dad wasn't around. Basketball was like my escape. I would go to the courts and I put my all into it. And I realized it was like my way of just like clearing my mind and just being in my own world. I ended up being a really good basketball player. I set a lot of goals for myself, attained a lot of them. My high school team won the city championship and state championship. My best friend ended up going to play in NBA. I ended up becoming like an All-American, getting a scholarship, stuff like that. I ended up studying sociology at the University of LMU. While I was in college, my best friend was playing for the Lakers. He took me in. I didn't have a place to live. So he was like, you know what, just come stay with me. It was just me. I just bought a brand new place, and you know, you're always welcome. So while I'm living with him, I guess an act of fate occurs, and I'm going with him to Laker games. People used to approach me a lot. They thought that I had something special about me, I guess. And so while I'm walking around the game, a guy approaches me that's a director and producer. I live in LA, so there's a lot of like Hollywood and films and drama and stuff of that nature. And he said, you know, you're perfect. What's your name? I want you to read from my film. And I was like, I'm not an actor, dude. Like, I play basketball. I'm like, and I think I'm gonna go to the NBA. I was like, at that time, I was working out with the Lakers. Kobe Bryant was like my idol growing up, and I got to be around him pretty much like every day. So it was like dream come true at that moment, and I'm on my path to success. And so, long story short, I'm in my summertime of my freshman going into sophomore year, and it's time for me to look for a job. I need money. So I was gonna get a summer job. The guy approaches me with the film. I'm like, all right, you know, he's like, it's about a high school basketball player, falls in love with his best friend's sister, I believe. And he was like, you know, I think you'd be perfect. Just come read. I go, okay, how much is it gonna pay me? I do the numbers, and it seems like I would make 4 times what I would make in a normal summer if I worked a job. So I'm like, sounds great. What do I do? So I end up reading for it. He goes, you're perfect, you have the job. I'm like, cool. It's like, I was like, how long does it take to shoot? It's like 20 days. I'm like, perfect. Everything seemed so amazing. It was like May at that time. I wanted the whole summer to work on my game, do everything I could do to become the best player I could be. So I was looking to wrap everything up around like mid-June. So I was like, this is perfect. I wouldn't even have to work the whole summer. Everything's going great. 2 days into filming it, back then there was like an amateur status with athletes where if you got paid as an athlete and you were on scholarship, it took away your amateur status. I didn't know that, and so my life goes like haywire because I lose my scholarship, have to stop playing basketball, and I'm like, I didn't even really want to be an actor. This is not even what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be an entertainer at all, for that matter. So, long story short, a lot of other things were happening during that time as well. Modeling agencies from around the world were coming up to me. People were scouting me, and I had offers to be with Wilhelmina, Ford Models, Lee, all these different places that were interested in me. So I'm sitting with myself, like, what do I do? I lost my scholarship, did this film, waiting for it to come out as an independent film. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just start modeling and take what God has for me. So I started modeling, ended up being a really big model. I ended up shooting for probably a lot of the brands that I'm seeing that you guys like were in the audience, and tons of them. I ended up being on billboards, I ended up being in magazines, magazine covers. I ended up being in multiple commercials. And then I do that for a few years. I'm in acting class. And then another thing happens. I'm walking down the street, and I'm with my uncle. And we go to a movie premiere. And Tyler Perry, I'm sure you know him. You just saw this slide with Oprah as we were coming in. I saw that she was talking. She was one of my employers as well. I was on a TV show on her network, which was OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network. And so, long story short, Tyler sees me, and he says, you know, I want you to be in my TV show. You should come read for it. I ended up booking that role, and I ended up doing that for like 4 seasons, about 80 episodes. But the whole point of why I'm saying all this, not to just tell you my story, but to just tell you that, like, number one, the main reason why we came together and started this app is that there was a lot of things that I had learned throughout my life, and there's things that I want to give to other people. I understand that, like, you know, not only are we in a health pandemic at this juncture, but we're in a mental health pandemic. And I couldn't imagine, like, what you guys are dealing with as, like, younger people, and you couldn't see your friends, you couldn't be at school, you know, you really couldn't do anything. Some of you guys, you know, were going into like prom or whatever, and that just got canceled, graduation got canceled. Whatever things you had planned, for me, my senior season was when we won the city state championship, and I couldn't imagine not having a senior season because that wouldn't happen, and that would have been one of my biggest goals that didn't get a chance to get accomplished. So, you know, we wanted to do something that was gonna help people, and Matt saw me, and I was always like posting different things to help people. You know, I was like, you know, always being very optimistic, always being like energetic, and always just promoting people to feel their best and stuff like that. So he came together and he was like, hello, Matt, like, you know, I've been seeing the things that you're doing, and we should come together and create this. And I was like, sign me up, so.
So the biggest problem that a lot of us are faced with is related to burnout. So what burnout looks like is when we have anxiety or stress or worry, and it's for an extended period of time, right? Because we're all gonna be faced with anxiety. That's just something that we're gonna be faced with, but it's how do we respond to it? And this right here, the burnout is on the rise. So it's something that, it's not just something that we discovered, but there's like research that shows that it's on the rise, and that's showing us that right now it's even more important to be able to manage stress. So that way it doesn't lead to burnout, right? And the key is to really take small steps, right? So with me sharing my story, one of the main reasons why I shared that is the one thing that I had control over, and it's all relative to what you guys have control over in your own world, but for me, it was my body. So going to the gym, and I started off small. Like, yes, I was an athlete, so it came natural, but at the same time, I started off small. So I just did a workout in my home, was doing push-ups, sit-ups, and then that just built up into me going to the gym consistently until it became a lifestyle. It became a healthy habit. And that's the key, is to have healthy habits that are a part of your life. And Matt can share more about that as well.
Yeah, so like I said, you know, burnout is huge, right? As Matt had mentioned. And because of the current status and predicaments that we're in right now, many people are just kind of like losing hope, and they're just like, oh, I you know, all these different things planned, and they just like kind of like hit a wall and then just go down further. But like I shared within my story, sometimes when things go wrong or you think they go wrong, they're not really going wrong, but it's the world and the divine energy working in your favor. And that can present an opportunity for something amazing. Now, like I shared earlier, I wanted to be a basketball player, but obviously God and the universe had a different plan for me. So I look at my friends that, did make it to the NBA and their careers were like 2 or 3 years, and I'm older and my career is still going, And if I didn't start modeling, didn't start acting, and then now in creation of, doing this with you guys with the app, it would have just been over and I don't know what I would have been doing. But it was a huge opportunity that was, ended up being presented for me where it looked like my life was going one direction, but what I was I was accepting and I was inviting of the new opportunities that were being given to me. And that's kind of like what we want to share with you guys and have you guys just be open-minded with what the world could be providing to you guys and not just be so single-minded and focused on like one thing.
So this is the introduction to what our app is. So basically, we created a tool that allows you to mindful journal, which is a powerful tool to bring your awareness to the present. And why that's important is when we bring awareness to the present moment, it allows us to focus on healthy thoughts, and it creates a healthy habit of mentally focusing on things that bring us more joy, more inner peace. So the more that we're able to take our thoughts that are connected to how we feel, that are connected to what we do and how we act, we do this over time and it becomes our new identity. We're no longer focusing on an identity that was based on a traumatic experience or a series of traumatic experiences. So right now, if you guys have your phone out, I would love for you guys to take out your phone right now. So I'll give you a few moments. You guys can take out your phones and go to the App Store. And when you go to the App Store, just type in Boom Journal. So I'll give you a few moments so you guys can do that. So it's Boom Journal in the App Store. If you have Android, it should be the same as well. Go to Google Play Store and download it. So the app is really focusing on improving your ability to navigate life when you are faced with challenges. And it's your ability to train your mind. So after you download it, you can we'll go back to it at the end and we'll go through the steps on the app.
So we just wanted you to download it right now so that when we go to the end and we walk you through the process, it'll already be downloaded and we don't have to take the same amount of time. But I would like to elaborate on the training of the mind. So one of the biggest things I'm an advocate of is that you can recalibrate your brain to do anything you want to do. Matt has known me for years, and I share tons of stories with him. And there's times that I tell him, yo, this is going to happen, and we're going to do these things. And he's like, what, Matt? And I'm like, just trust me, And so really what I wanted you guys to know, because you guys are young, you guys are, majority of you in the audience are like 18, 19, or 17, somewhere in that range. And so I want you guys to have the tools that are necessary to make you a power creator, to make it so that you have the ability to manifest anything you want. And what I mean by manifest, if you guys aren't familiar with that word, it means to create something from nothing, right? So our brain is a super powerful mechanism, and we think thoughts all throughout the day. And we can turn those thoughts into reality. So it may seem like, I remember telling people when I was first starting to act and stuff like that, I'm going to be on TV and I'm going to be on a show and everyone's going to know me and I'm going to be this like star and I'm going to be a heartthrob and all these things were going to happen. And people were like, I don't know about that, Matt. You don't even have an agent. You don't even have a manager. And I was like, I know. But one of the main things I did was that I never, ever self-talk to myself. So you know how, like, in your mind, you're thinking thoughts? So those are like conversations, right? Every thought that I had to myself was the most positive, extraordinary, amazing thing. I never, ever said anything negative. There's times that Matt and I will be in mid-conversation and we'll be discussing plans of things we want to do next in the app, and he'll say something that it will be like semi-not positive, and I'm like, nope. Or he'll like bring up an example how something may not go in. I'm like, nope. You know, so everything, it's very important to be aware and cognitive of our thoughts. And cognitive means just being conscious. So that's one of the things that you can do by when we say train the mind, is train it to be positive. In society, the way that people grow up, you know, we have mothers, dads, they really wish the best for us and they want us to do very well. But sometimes they can be a little negative when we're telling them our dreams and our aspirations, because maybe they weren't able and capable of creating those things, or people didn't support them when they were younger, or they just don't want you to be let down and they care for you and love you a lot. But sometimes, or majority of the time for that matter, you have to tune them out. You have to know that like what you want to create is what you want to do. And your life is your life, and you are the only one that has power, control, and dominion over yourself. So one of the main things I always advocate is recalibrating the mind, training the mind to be more positive. Whenever you want to do something, and no matter how crazy it seems to be, no matter how far-fetched it is, all you have to do is just say, I'm going to do this, I want to do this, and never, ever think negative about it. You know, we have guys like Elon Musk who have like put rocket ships in the air, and then he's landed them backwards. Now, everyone said that he couldn't do that, but he knew for sure that he could do that. And then he was the first one to land it backwards. You know, there's plenty of people that think of many different things that they're going to do. And all of you guys are the next generation. You guys are the future. So it's all about you guys believing that you can do anything, that whatever you can conceive. So we want to help you guys retrain your mind and make sure that your thoughts are positive. And one of the other things I want to elaborate on is writing it down. Because writing it down is so powerful, because not only do you see it, you're thinking about it, and then you're using it, your arms, your fingers, whatever, hands, by writing it down. There are 3 different things that are going into that. So you seeing it is making it more powerful. You writing it down is putting it in stone. You doing this day by day is making it stronger and stronger and stronger and giving you confidence to do it and make it happen.
And to touch on that more, our brain and our mind are separate, right? So bringing our awareness to our thoughts is our mind, our thoughts, our desires, things that we want. Our brain doesn't know the difference between an unhealthy thought or a healthy thought. And the more you feed your mind with healthy thoughts, the more your brain's gonna lead into that. So when we talk about manifesting, the law of attraction, or all these kind of buzzwords that are out there, it's really about training your mind to focus on that. So if you're constantly in an environment you're fed with negativity, you're constantly being fed negativity, your brain is going to do more of that. You're going to think about it, and your outer world is going to reflect that. But just know that you have the power to change that. But it really requires you to have some type of tool to bring your awareness to it. Because as you're going to see in the next slide, it's related to self-reflection. A lot of times when we think of self-reflection, we think it's selfish, right? Sometimes we think it's selfish to self-reflect or focus on us. But what it does, it allows us to focus on things, activities, people, events that bring us inner peace, that bring us more joy. And also understand what is bringing us things of like related to anxiety, stress, worry. What traumatic experiences that we are experiencing, whether we're in a toxic relationship or we're around toxic people. What happens is we gravitate towards that. We want that toxicity because it is familiar. It's a survival mechanism. It's a way to survive. And we'll allude to that in a later slide, but that's something I want you guys to understand between the difference between a toxic and a healthy relationship.
So self-reflection is huge. It was one of the main things that I've learned just in my own life to become successful, and around all the other successful people that I know. They take this time every day at the end of the day, or maybe even multiple times a day, to look and evaluate their life. You know, if you want to become, let's say, an NBA player, for example, you have to look and say, hey, am I putting in the time? Am I doing everything possible and necessary to put myself in position to become this? So that's why it's really important to be self-reflective, because it's really a level of accountability. And you always want to be held accountable for your own self. So you want to say, if you wanted straight A's, you know, am I studying? Am I studying in the morning? Am I studying at the night? Am I taking notes in class? What am I doing to make sure that I make my goals happen? And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, like, who cares? I'm like 17, 18, like, I just want to have fun, and like, I just want to just be a young kid. That's all cool, right? But you're going to grow up, and there's going to be things you want. You're going to want a brand new Range Rover. You're going to want a Rolls Royce. You're going to want to live in the mansion that you see. You see people with like shiny things, nice necklaces, nice watch, designer clothes. You're going to want those things. All those things take money. What are you going to do to create that money for yourself? That's what you have to ask yourself. So in our app, the cool thing about it, when you're mindfully journaling and you're writing these things down, is like, we encourage everyone to be honest and be completely transparent and candid with what's going on in their life, because there's a built-in AI technology that's in it, and it's going to show you different things that you're doing that are either bringing you more joy, more happiness, more success, more love, and then they're also going to show you things that you're doing that are bringing you down, that are going to, you know, bring depression, sadness, anxiety, fear. And when you have sadness, anxiety, fear, depression, and you're living in that space, you can't create anything. You can't be a master creator. Love, joy, happiness, when you're feeling those emotions make it so you can go and create, do anything you want to do. And it makes you magnetic, it makes you strong. And so that's one of the main things that I realized in my life. So when we were coming into the development of the app, I was reworking my life backwards, and I was like, what are the things that I did so that I can pass to other people so that they can go and do whatever that they want to do that makes them happy? And I realized that some of the most happy people in the world are the people that are doing the things that they love to do. You know, sometimes you meet people and they're just like mad at life or bitter, or, you know, just operating in a space of just not joy. And it's because there's something that they would rather do that they're not able or capable of doing because they just have like some regular job. And so right now, you guys are young. You guys have your future in the palm of your hands. So if you guys start incorporating these different tactics, it makes it so that you guys can go and achieve and do whatever you want to do. And Matt always laughs about it because I go, man, this is so fun. I love that we're creating this app. I love that we're able to come and speak to you guys. Like, we live in Beverly Hills, California, and they flew us all the way out here just to come lecture to you guys. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. And he goes, you know what? God is going to make this happen because he wants us to express ourselves fully. And so that's what we want for you guys. If you're expressing yourself fully, you're never going to be sad. You're never going to be angry. You're never going to be mad. You're going to have more joy. You're going to have more happiness. You're going to have more love. And it's really important.
And like I was mentioning earlier, we have a built-in filter. And that filter is survival mode, right? Instead of thriving, we're trying to constantly survive. And our life experiences, whether they're on a small scale in terms of our traumatic experiences or on a larger scale, it's natural for us to gravitate towards that toxicity, that toxic relationship. And that's what I want you guys to understand is you may not be aware of it. You may not be aware that you are engaging in situations that are toxic for you. And it's not that you have to judge yourself like you're doing something wrong, but once you become aware of what's going on, you allow yourself to understand that you can do something about it. You can continue to do it. You can continue to be in that situation and you can be a part of it, but you also have a choice to get out of it. And it's not to say that one way is wrong or right. We all experience challenges. We all experience situations that we feel like it's good in the moment because it's instant gratification. It's in the moment. But once you start to understand that you can change things that are going on in your life when everything outside of your life may be out of control, then you feel more empowered. And you can start to focus on things that you want to bring into your life. So that's something that I want you guys to understand, that it's natural for our brain to focus on things that are built to help us survive.
Yeah, I agree in totality. Many of us gravitate towards these things because it's a level of comfort. And what we have to do to really progress in our life is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it at times seems very uncomfortable when you're taking on new challenges and trying to accomplish new goals because it's just unfamiliar. But with time, it will become more familiar because you'll get used to it. And it's just about changing the habits. What people don't realize is if you don't like your life, I tell people all the time, people come to me and ask me different questions on what can I do, Matt, to be more successful. I've seen you go from being a top basketball player to a top model to a top actor to now writing movies to now creating TV shows to now creating an app. How do you do these different things? How do you go into a new genre? And I'm like, well, if I look at my life and I'm unhappy with whatever's going on in it at times, or I want something different, I just know that I need to change my thoughts. See, your life is a reflection of your thoughts. So if you guys don't like any of the circumstances that you're currently dealing with, change your thoughts. That's the biggest thing that people don't really realize, is you have control over these things. But we naturally will do the things that seem familiar, or we'll do it for a little bit, and then they go and revert back to their old habits. But you can never progress if you're constantly reverting back to your old habits. And Albert Einstein said a great thing. He said insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting a different result.
And it's also okay to have some type of physical pain, like physical pain. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when we're experiencing pain, we want to try to fix it immediately. Or if we have some type of hardship or challenge that we're faced with, we want to fix it instantly and distract ourselves. Instead of leaning into it, understanding where it's coming from, and feeling like that, and really sit with that feeling. Sit with that feeling that you're experiencing. Because the more you're able to sit with those strong feelings, whether it's frustration, anger, pain, fear, you're able to strengthen your mind. You're able to strengthen your brain, make that connection, and be able to persevere when you are faced with challenges. And the more you are able to really sit with those emotions, the stronger you're going to be.
I agree 100%. One of the main things about life is setting goals for yourself. And sometimes when you're setting different goals, whether it be a physical goal, saying like, you know, I want to run a marathon, and it's 26 miles. You know, you're not going to run 26 miles the first day. You're going to build up into it. And so along the process of doing that, you're going to experience some physical pain. You know, the first mile is going to be like, oof, rough. The second mile, your chest is going to be on fire. Your legs are going to be burning. You know, you might experience some cramping. But it's all about building up to where you want to go. And what I tell people all the time is set goals. You know, they don't have to be the biggest goal in the beginning, but set 1 month goal, set a 2 month goal, set a 3 month goal, set a 6 month goal, and then set a year goal, and build up into it. And when you're setting those goals and then you accomplish them, then, you know, let's say you accomplish your 2 month goal or your 5 month goal, right? That's what's going to give you the confidence needed to go and create more things. And confidence, self-esteem is huge. You know, that's one thing that helps you progress in life. So when you're experiencing some physical or discomfort, just know that it's not always a bad thing and kind of embrace it, because that's change. That means that there's a change that's going on in the body. And so embrace that and know that, you know, you are progressing and you're getting to where you want to be.
And the key to happiness is there is no key. There's no key to happiness that's going to unlock your joy, your inner peace, your love for whatever you're doing. Because we all have things that we really like doing all the time, right? But is it bringing you short-term or is it long-term happiness, right? Over time, what you want to experience is happiness consistently every single day, or more days than not, because we're going to have days that we're not happy, and that's okay. It's not a bad or a good thing, but the key is to really be able to use a tool that allows you to bring your awareness to the present, because life is only happening in the present moment. It's not happening in the past. It's not happening in the future. It's happening right now. Just like how we're interacting right now, you guys are listening to what we have to say. Some of you guys are engaged, some of you guys are not, but it's important that you are able to use some type of tool that allows you to bring your awareness to the present, because life is happening right now.
I just want to ask a question. How many of you guys in the audience are happy right now? Like, I just want to see like a show of hands.
So we have two people.
The
3, 4.
But not
okay.
like, not because we're speaking, but just like in your normal life. Like, are you happy? Like,
Overall, are you happy?
So like, I'm looking, and majority of the audience isn't happy. Why do you think that you guys aren't happy? Do you think it's because of COVID? Do you think it's because of your lives? You thought you were going to do something else? Is it because of family? What is it? You guys don't know. That's the point. I know you guys don't know what makes you guys happy. So the cool thing about our app and what we did and what we created was that if you're utilizing it as we suggest, and you're taking only 5 to 7 minutes out of your day to go and log your thoughts, talk about what's going on in your daily life and your daily routine, then you'll be able to see, because what it does is it compartmentalizes the different things that you're doing. Because in life, we have so much going on. And I can just imagine being a young person, you guys have like Instagram, your best friend broke up with this girl, your girlfriend's breaking up with you, like all kind of weird stuff. Someone borrowed your pants, they're not giving it back, they spilled Kool-Aid on it, whatever it is that's going on. And so you're like, I can't like just focus and like self-reflect and do all these things all the time. And that's hard to realize like what actually is making you tick. Plus you guys don't know yourselves well enough yet. So with the app and it compartmentalizing all the daily activities and your emotions that you're feeling, because throughout the day you guys are gonna feel so many different emotions, and it's hard to like chart and graph every emotion that you guys feel all the time and be remembering what you felt on Monday and what you felt on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and so on and so forth. The app is going to go and it's going to be like, oh yeah, Monday you felt euphoria, Tuesday you were sad, but there were certain things that you're going to say that made you feel this way and brought that emotion out of you. With that being said, you'll know like, oh, when I'm spending more time with my brothers and my family, I experience more joy. When I talk to my mother, she kind of makes me sad. Maybe she's bitter, maybe she's this. When I'm playing sports, I feel better. You know, when I'm just doing any activity that you're going to be going through in your daily lives, you're going to realize that there's some things that are bringing you more joy or less joy. And so with that being said, you'll know what to remove and then what to incorporate more of. And so then you'll start understanding yourself more and then knowing your key to happiness. And that's the basic thing that we are trying to preach and teach to you guys, is having power over your emotions. Matt is a huge advocate of this. He would always say this when we were creating the app. He was like, I need everyone to have, what did you say, Matt?
So it's key to be able to manage stress through focusing on your thoughts, because your thoughts are connected to how you feel. And how you feel is connected to what you do, and what you do is connected to how you're going to act. what you do consistently every single day, because we all have habits. Some habits we're proud of, some habits we're not, and that's okay. It's not about judging yourself, but it's about understanding that you're stronger than your emotions, and you are not your thoughts. You are not identified with your experiences in the past, and you're not your thoughts. And once you're able to observe yourself, you become an observer and not a judger, because oftentimes when we judge ourselves, that leads to more depression, more anxiety, more stress, more worry, because we feel inadequate and we start comparing ourselves to other people. But when we shift that to becoming a creator, now you feel empowered. You no longer have to get that validation from other people, get that validation from your grades, get that validation from your family, your friends, from Instagram, whatever platform you guys are using, whether you guys are on TikTok or Instagram and you guys are seeing or comparing yourself to other people, you no longer need to do that.
Also, I would like to add, when you're constantly in a comparative analysis mindset and you're like, well, this person has this, or this person gets this many likes, or that many followers, and I'm here and there, that's what leads to anxiety and depression. And what we're trying to get you guys to understand is to be a creator. And when you're creating, you're not competing, you're only saying, I want to do whatever's best for me, or I want to be the best version of myself. And that's the main thing that we need to shift society out of and create this paradigm shift of, is that let's stop looking at what's going on to the left and what's going on to the right of us, and start looking at, what am I doing? What's bringing my life happiness? What's bringing me joy? What's making my days better? And so once we do that and we start really being aware of our emotions and our thoughts, then that's when we start really living life and stop existing.
And we're gonna do a quick exercise before we conclude. So please take out your phone. If you downloaded the app and you guys wanna participate, take out the app and we'll kind of walk you through how you can do mindful journaling. So once you get to the app, we'll kind of walk you through it.
Has everyone been able to find the app? No? Just type in Boom Mindful Journaling. Yeah. Is everyone logged in? Yeah? Okay, cool. We'll continue. So the first thing it's going to ask you.
So let's walk them through it.
Huh?
Let's walk them through it.
Oh, you didn't do this one?
So let me get a show of hands of people that have access to it. So if you typed in, okay, so it's a good amount of people. So what you're going to do is it's going to ask you, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? So when you go to that, you're going to click on that. So how are you feeling? And then the next page should be an icon where you can select different emotions. So it should be an emojicon, and it allows you to select different emotions. So just go through it, select the emotion that you're feeling at the moment. And what this does is it allows you to understand how your thoughts, because you're thinking right now, how your thoughts are connected to how you feel. So once you select the emotion, it's going to connect you to the next page. So just go through the journal itself until you get to the actual journaling itself, where today I am feeling grateful for And
Just
you're going to fill in the
elaborate,
blank.
say how you're feeling today. If you woke up, you're feeling sad. If you woke up and you're feeling great, just explain what's going on. If you're sitting here and you're like, I don't want to be here, you can say that too. Just say whatever you want, be honest, and explain how you're feeling today and what's going on. And it's cool because this is just for you. It's like basically having your own diary and journal in your back pocket. You don't have to carry it around anymore. It just makes it very simple, and then it shows you what's going on in your life.
So as you write down your thoughts, it's best to be as descriptive as possible, because you are essentially taking those thoughts out of your head and putting them down on this journal, where it allows you to clear your mind, and focus on things that really matter most to you. So as you continue past that, you're going to focus on I am grateful for, which reinforces positive thoughts, or I am letting go. Fear, worry, anxiety. So there's an option to do that as well. So you're letting go those unhealthy emotions, or you have the option of selecting what you are grateful for. And the more you do this, the more consistently you're focusing on what you're grateful for, the more positivity you can bring into your life.
And the reason why it's important to say the reason why we created the app in this manner is that first we want to ask you like how your day is going. And once we realize how your day is going, then you know what, okay, what's bringing this upon you? What's making you feel this way? Then when you elaborate on it, you talk about it, you start explaining, being very descriptive. What if you had a bad day? What if, you woke up and your mother just went crazy on you that morning and you were just like, what? Like, I didn't even do anything, Mom, I just woke up. But she was having a bad day, so she took it out on you. And then not everyone has someone to talk to. Not everyone has like people as outlets. So we created the app as a way for you guys to have a way to communicate and have that outlet and have that way to vent. Because when Matt was doing his assessments and stuff like that, people were dealing with trauma. And a lot of times people just need to talk to someone, or they need to just let out how they're feeling internally and just explain it. So when you're on the app, you can go and say, hey, you know what, this sucks. My mom, there's certain things, I remember being younger, my mom would be having a bad day. She'd go off on me, but I couldn't cuss my mom out. She would hurt me. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not gonna do that. So I can go here and say all the things I would want to say to her and be like, I didn't do anything, I'm just your kid. You're unhappy because X, Y, and Z, and this is going on. So you can go and say all those things, get those feelings out, because it's one thing, when you harbor negative feelings, they don't just go away, they stay there inside of you. And it's really unhealthy to harbor that, because it just gets tucked away and buried and buried and buried. And then later on, you get into relationships with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever you got going on, and there are things that come up and arise, and it just arises, and it has nothing to do with the particular person you're in a relationship with, but it's stuff that you had going on that you didn't attack and try to like come to a resolution with. So it's important for you to vent, speak about what's going on. And so if you had that bad day and you're like, you know what, this sucks, I hate her, you can be like, I'm letting go of the bad thing. But then you can also see, even though there was something bad that occurred, you can say, I am grateful for, being healthy, and then we go and send you along with a nice quote, just so that if you did have a bad day, it doesn't stay bad. And that's what we want to do. We want to improve happiness. We want to bring more joy, more everything to life. And so, we're just trying to redirect things. So if you are having that bad day, we can change it when you come to visit our app, and we can bring more love and joy and happiness to your lives.
Absolutely. And we appreciate everyone that has come out. I know that you guys all have things that you are doing today, and we just want to thank you for taking the time to really engage with us, listen to what we have to say, and just know that we are here to help anybody and make them know that they have the power. You guys all in this room have the power and you have the ability to focus on what you really want and continue to bring more positivity into your lives.
Thank you guys for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Anyone that download the app, I encourage you guys to continue using it. I think that you will find the value in it. And I just want you guys to know that you guys can accomplish anything and the world's in your fingertips. Love and God bless.
Hello, my name is Phil Smith, Vice Chancellor for Advancement and Executive Director of BRCC Foundation. I want to thank you for joining us today, and for more information, visit www.brccf.org. And remember, dreams do come true.